Happy Leap Day. It is February 29th, 2024. Justin Coffin, Joe Danier, BJ's in the back. And thanks for tuning in. 330 Sports Show down here at Youngstown Studio. So, Joe, it is Leap Day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you celebrate? Do you do anything different?
The only thing, I had an uncle that was born on leap year, and he used to, it was every time I would see him, it was the same freaking joke. I'm 12.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's really it.
I really can't. I saw YSU's head coach, Doug Phillips. His birthday is today on the 29th. Do you think, should it be celebrated 28th or March 1st if there's no 29th?
You don't get one.
What would you? No, you don't get one?
You don't get one.
What about a little kid?
Too bad. You got a birthday every 4 years. Why don't I get a birthday every month?
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to tell you, there's some cases in a minute where that kid might not get to celebrate at all for 8 years. So because of the math, not every 4 years there is a leap year. So it's very interesting because the sun's, I put out a little reel earlier, but the sun's orbit around the earth, or excuse me, let me correct that before I get science nerds after me. The Earth's orbit around the heliocentric sun is 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds. So, to astronomers, they know the precise time and all that. So we always say, round up 365 and a quarter. So I did some research because I was just curious. Do you know why we have a leap year, first of all? Like, I kind of told you, but like what's your thinking?
To shore up the time offset.
Exactly. Do you know where that came from?
I'm going to say probably the Greeks.
It came from actually the Romans and the Egyptians initially. Okay. And then, so way back when, so 47 BCE. So we're talking like, 2047 years ago or whatever, or 2060 plus years ago. Julius Caesar, who was like banging Cleopatra at the time, is hanging out in Egypt. So
I never heard history books quite frame it like that.
It might not be the nicest way of saying it, but so he's flirtatious with Cleopatra, who is the Egyptian queen. So he, thanks to Cleopatra, meets these thinkers, these philosophers, and discovers, why is our Roman calendar different than these Egyptian calendars? So they talk, they meet, and they do all this stuff. And then, so the Roman calendar, the way it was set up, was 12 months out of the year, just the same as today, but it was only 355 days. So they would lose 10 days every year, which will add up pretty quickly. So over of course of 3 years, you're losing a whole month. But what they would do is at the end of those 3 years, they would just add an extra month of 27 or 28 days. So, they would have 12 months, and then 13 months, which is kind of weird. But so that was the Roman calendar. The Egyptian calendar was a little bit more precise. 12 months, 30 days, and then they would add an extra month with 5 days. So they would have 365 days. So pretty precise there, but not 100% accurate. You're going to lose a day every 4 years. So Caesar goes and asks, like his best philosophers, that's a hard word to say, philosophers, and kind of like take the hybrid model of the Roman, the Egyptian, and plug it together and see what you come up with, because they were finding out like there's certain harvest times that were off. There's certain times that I think it was the Nile would flood and stuff like that. And they wanted to be pretty accurate so they could plan for that stuff. So a leap day initially in 45 BCE was put into place. And then what they would do, they only had 24 months in the month of February. They would add, it would be February 24th, 45 BCE. Then the next day would be February 24th. And they did that over a course of time until they got up, to that. So I don't know, kind of boring, but kind of interesting too.
Well, as a kid, I would constantly think like if they were off even by a little bit, there would be a period of time where the seasons would reverse and you would just be completely off. So it's fairly accurate. Whatever they did kind of shored that up. Now, do you think it was weird if you were born in 45 BC that the years would be counting down? Would you kind of consider like why they're counting down?
I don't know if they did that back then. I don't know if they quite had that math.
So your
figured
calendar
out yet.
says, 45 BCE,
Like, what are we
and then
counting
next
down
year
to?
is 44
Yeah.
BCE. It's like,
Like,
what?
Am I gonna
Is it
die
gonna-
in 44
Yeah,
years?
that'd be
Although the
really
lifespan
weird.
expectancy was probably no more than 44 years back then. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, would they?
Hmm.
Yeah, probably.
You know
not.
what? Another thing I thought of as a weird nerdy
Yeah.
kid is that if you had built a time machine and you calibrated the thing to go back a certain number of days or
Yeah.
years, it might not line up with the day that you intended to if the time machine doesn't know like your calendar. If it's just going back mathematical days,
Yeah.
you might end up in a completely different time than you thought you were going
That's
to.
a really interesting point too. I think we've talked about this once before, but I'll get back to the calendar in a minute. But the time machine theory that I've heard that like a lot of theoretical physicists and stuff seem to believe is once the time machine is created, whether we have one now and no one knows, or whether one's created in the future, like I was told you can only go back to the time it was created. You
Yep.
cannot actually go back in a different, let's say back to the year 2000 or something. You can't do that. I don't know if that's true, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, and I've always heard of that you have to create the exit door before you create the entrance. So if you're going to do a time machine and you figure out how to get out of the time machine, you have to create that first, let time go by, and then create the entry to it.
Okay.
But you cannot go pierce beyond that.
Yeah. So let's say we created a time machine yesterday. You could only today, you could only go back to yesterday. That would
Yeah,
be
because
the
what
way
would make it
work.
materialize
Right.
in that time?
Exactly.
It doesn't exist.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So back to this, back to Caesar real quick. The month of July, it was called Julius. So that's where July comes from. And then he had another guy, Augustus, that was like his main guy. And that's where the month of August comes from in the calendar. So I thought that was interesting too. A couple more fun facts. Every 1,000 years, in February, they would, they'd notice like they'd be losing some time. So it was interesting, like in the fact of every 128 years, you would lose one full day, like based on this calendar setup. Now, over our course of time, that's not much, but you add that up over 10, tens of thousands of years, that's going to rework the whole calendar. So that's kind of another reason we do this. Now, Easter, the Romans were obviously Catholic. Now, Easter is the main reason. His name was Pope Gregory the 13th, and the reason that he wanted it done was because Easter was following, like at different times when it should not be. So I had to look this up because Easter is, and I got to read off of this. Easter is supposed to be celebrated on the first Sunday after the first full moon after March 21st, which is the spring equinox. That's when the days and the night are exactly the same. And they were finding out this isn't happening. It's like happening at a different time. So the moon phases were off and all that stuff. So in March 1582, they came up with this new calendar that we still kind of use today. And then here's an awesome story. So in Europe, that's where the majority of the intelligent world was in the 1600s. So in 1582, the non-Catholic Europeans used this other calendar, Julian calendar. Now the Catholic people in Italy and whatnot were using this Gregorian calendar. So their dates were off by a few days, specifically 12 days. So I found this story of this guy named William Willett, and he challenged this bar he was at. Who knew there were bars in 1582? But he said, I will dance for 12 days straight. And if I dance for 12 days straight, everyone here has to basically buy him all the drinks he wants for, I don't know what the time period was. And so I think it was, later in the evening, let's say it was 10:30 at night. So at 10:30 on September 2nd, 1752, this guy starts dancing. And he dances around the bar and dances around the bar. And for about an hour and a half, he dances. And then after midnight, he sits down and people start laughing at him. Oh, you only lasted an hour and a half, whatever, this and that. So what the crowd didn't realize, in England, they passed, or in Great Britain, I should say, they passed legislation that the calendar would go for, it would omit 11 days that year. So it skipped from September 2nd at midnight to September 14th. So he technically won the bet, and he brought the newspaper in, showed him all the people did pay up. So I thought that was kind of an interesting, kind of a fun story. So technically the man said he danced for 12 straight days, and I guess the numbers don't lie, he did. So an hour and a half equals 12 days in his book. So
the first scam on record.
A really good scam. I got another scam thing we're going to talk about in a little bit here. Okay. So every 4 years, you think there's a leap year, right? The Olympics, the presidential elections, stuff like that. Do you know what years are not leap years? Okay. So
I had no idea that even existed until today.
So the year 2000 was a leap year, right? Okay. 2004, 2008, 12, 16, 20, and this year, 24. All leap years. The year 2100 will not be a leap year. It's divisible by 4, right? But so here's the time when the rule is the leap year, if it's divisible by 100 and not divisible by 400, the leap year is skipped. So it has to be divisible by both 100 and 400 to be a leap year, because that counteracts the extra like 14 minutes or whatever to save the calendar. So interesting stuff.
Time is an illusion. Like they could just make this shit up as they go.
Exactly.
It's like when they roll the clocks back, they're like, no, guys, it's 11 o'clock. You're like, no, it's 12. Like it's an hour beyond what it just was, which was 11. You're like, no, it's 11.
Believe me, we've talked about standard time versus daylight savings, and they need to get rid of standard time. Just keep daylight savings. So when the clocks go, well, they'll spring forward, right? Yeah. So they spring forward whenever that is, sometime in March, I believe. When that happens, don't change them back. We want the sunlight in the daytime and later on at night. We don't need it at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and then it's dark at 4:30. Get rid of that. So
you skim past time travel. Like I know you threw it out there, but why did you allocate so little time for the time travel talk?
Oh, we can get back to it. That's
all right. We'll continue on.
I was just trying to spit some more facts. All right. So I got like 3 more facts or so. Let's just go with it. So the chances of having a leap year baby, my friend Dave Spires has his daughter is technically 2, even though she's in second grade this year. So it's her second official February 29th birthday. But 4 million people in the world have a leap day birthday. 200,000 or so in the United States. It's a 1. You can do the math, 365, 365, 365, 366. You add that up, 1 in 1,461, which your chances are better, 3 times better almost, to have an extra finger or toe than to be born on February 29th. So
my uncle was special. Not everybody has an uncle.
Did he have 6 toes?
My uncle did not have 6 toes. He had a leap year birthday.
Okay. Maybe he had
What if you have an extra toe and a leap year birthday? That's exponential odds right there.
Yeah.
Boom.
I can't do the math on that one. In Greece, it's bad luck to get on this married on this day. Here's an interesting one. In Finland, Scotland, and Ireland, it's a tradition for a woman to ask a man for like a proposal. And if the man says no, he has to give the woman something. So if you're a woman, you're like, I'm just going to ask for some random person to get married. And then if they say no, shit, they got to buy me flowers or something. I don't know. So I thought that was interesting.
Second scam of the day.
Yes. Well, here's another good scam for a court. For a criminal, don't commit a crime on a leap year, because the court views the year as however many days are in that year. So if there's a leap year, you're serving 366 instead of 365. So if you're going to commit a crime that you're going to be in prison for over a year, do it on the non-leap year years. Just a recommendation there.
So
Or just-
Criminals are completely logical in their timing
they're
of
probably
their crime.
thinking that out.
Yeah,
when
they're like,
committing the
this
crime.
is a leap year. Let me go rob the bank.
And let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're a paid worker versus a salary employee, are you getting paid for your work today?
Your freebie.
You're working for free today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're a salaried employee, you got to work the same. You got to, hey, we're on a Thursday here. You're working on a leap day that technically won't happen next year. So tough luck, right? Or could take the day off sick. I don't know. So
if you have a paid vacation on a day that falls on a day where you wouldn't work, is that a free day?
I don't know. Yes.
It is a free day.
Yes, it's a free day.
That and leap year equal.
Okay, fair. Okay, I agree to that. All right, you want time travel? Let's go.
I forget what I was going to say.
All right.
It
Well, hold
happened
that.
so long ago, but really.
All right, hold that thought.
Okay.
Because I'm going to time travel back to 2 days ago. You see what I just did there?
It's good.
Just watch this video. This is fun. So awesome.
Where was that from?
59 feet. So a little bit before half court. I think they'll probably show it again. Here, wait, one more time.
Oh, he was at the C, the beginning
He
of
was
the
at,
C.
yeah.
Is that a shot you practice in
That's a shot, like, even as a high school basketball coach, we wouldn't practice like exact scenarios where you're going to take it, but every now and then for fun, we would say, all right, we got to make a half court shot before we can end practice or leave the gym. So maybe you spend like 3 to 5 minutes at the end of a practice in like a situational drill where, because that's not, how often do you take a half court shot? At most you can do it 4 times a game, but chances are you're maybe going to have like 3 or 4 a season. But like a situation like that, it came up and it won him a game. So I don't know, like the amount of people that can make that long of a distance shot is not many. I mean, and that looked as clean as it can get, that was straight through, no rim, perfect shot. And the Cavs had no timeouts either. So he inbounds the ball and then gets it right back, and boom, he had 2.5 seconds to do that. So
all right, so
awesome.
they pull Justin down from the stands.
Yeah.
They set him up at the half court. The prize on the line is a Porsche Carrera.
Sure.
You have to drain the half court shot.
Any consequences if I miss?
No, you just don't win the car.
I'd say I can hit. His is a little bit longer than half court. If I got to go right up to the half court line, I bet you I could hit 15%.
All right. That's good odds.
Yeah, I bet I could hit 15%. Because I mean, I used to do it all the time in practice just for fun. And there was at one point, just for the hell of it, I actually hit 3 in a row, and it was like unbelievable. Then I probably proceeded to miss the next 20. But we were just goofing around one time. I think I was coaching middle school basketball, and I was like, all right, everybody's got to make one. So in that time, and I made the coaches do it too. So me and my assistant coach too. So everybody had to make one before we could leave, and then and everybody did. But some people it took 20 shots, some people it took 25 shots, some people it took 2. It's just you do the math, and you're probably, I don't know, 10 to 20% in that range. But hey, if you gave me a shot for a Porsche, I could probably step up and hit it.
6 shots and it's money.
Yeah, that's about it, right? About one out of 6. So give me 6 chances. And that's a little bit different with the you having a defender in your face and the clock running down, and that's a little nerve-wracking. But if no defenders, whatever, I could probably do it. How about you?
No, not a chance.
Not
Like I'm
if you
money.
if I gave you 100 shots.
Oh, I could do it. Like I could do it. I was really good. I was a good 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Like in the paint, 5 foot nothing guy.
Yeah, but still, it's really like, I mean, if you can run up on it too, if you had to do it flat-footed, that's
hard.
very difficult.
Yeah.
But if you get a little bit of a running start and your momentum towards it, I think that's very doable.
I would always go to like the overhand throw, and I was not accurate with like
Yeah.
the overhand throw. If I can really shoot it
Oh,
up,
yeah.
like
you shoot it like you're normally taking a shot.
yeah, I could probably the same odds as you.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, it's an insane shot in that situation, but to make a normal half court shot with no defense, no pressure, I guess you got the car on the line, but let's say, your Porsche and then you miss 10 shots, then it goes down to I don't know, like a decent car, then 10 more shots, whatever.
You got a Pinto by the end.
You're down at a Pinto. Yeah, the last 10. So I'm going to skip this slide here, but pretty awesome on that, and just great stuff. So the Cavs ended up winning that game, and they had a rough game last night. They lost in double overtime to the Bulls, but overall pretty good stuff. So
let's talk time travel, because
yeah,
we talked way too much sports on the 330 Sports Show. All right. So time is relative to the speed that you're traveling.
Yeah.
You're spinning on a planet that's moving around a solar system that's moving around a, galaxy that's moving.
Yeah.
And that galaxy is moving around the universe. So speed is relative to motion, right?
Yeah.
And so like when you're doing calendars or trying to measure time, you have things that sometimes like the Earth and the galaxy and the solar system are all moving in unison. So you are traveling faster. And then sometimes it's moving against you, like traffic's going this way. You're going 100 miles an hour plus 100 miles an hour. That's 200 miles an hour worth of speed versus you're staying in the same direction. You got two cars that are traveling 100 miles an hour. They're basically stand still. Like you can look at the other guy's window and see them eating ice cream. Right?
Yeah.
And so relative to the speed, that's all I got.
That's true.
But we're talking about the measurement of accurate time over whatever. So that the accuracy goes off because that fluctuation in speed.
Yeah.
Drink some more bourbon.
It's like a very loaded, you're just, if you just talk about one thing, like you look at the clock, it's 3:54. Okay. I understand that, you talk about what the date and the year, I get that. But then when you're talking about like, even stuff, do you remember like on the ACT or the SAT, there would be like, this train leaves Albuquerque, New Mexico at this time. This train leaves Sioux, South Dakota at this time. What time will they meet in Kansas City or something like that? It's like, shit, I don't know. I just hope they both get there,
Safe travels.
Yeah. And like, so, I mean, I understand the math, and like there's a lot of relative time, that you get. And it's like, I don't know, like hopefully they're a little bit late so I can go grab lunch over here.
Well, we buy into time like it's this really concrete thing where that's the mean, what I mean? That's the thing that you have faith in. But then you look at like the Julian calendar and Gregorian calendar, and it's truly somebody looked at it and said, yeah, all this time we were off. Like we need to recalibrate and set, let's just skip a month, skip a month ahead. And then everybody who believes in time are like, wait a minute. So what about like last month? Were we really not at 7 o'clock? Was it really at 9 o'clock?
Yeah. Right. Isn't that so weird though? Like they used to be able to figure this stuff out with zero technology. They would do this with a freaking sundial and just like charting stuff for thousands of years. And then like we have a hard time like getting to like Austintown to Boardman on time for a meeting. You know what I mean? It's like, for God's sakes, people, like the conveniences we really have compared to then, and like the things, like we shoot down like a lot of people that are like, oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. Like, look at what those ancient Romans did. Look at what those ancient Egyptians did. Like, they figured shit out that's still helping us today
with no technology whatsoever.
No. Unbelievable. Well, or did they?
I don't think they did.
Okay. So have you ever heard the theory? We'll just get weird here for a second before I get back to the Cavs.
See, that's my contribution to the show.
No, I love it.
Weirdness.
Hey, today, I knew today was going to be weird going into it. So why not? Let's have a little fun. It's the end of
This
February.
day doesn't even exist.
Yeah,
like you could scrap
like
it.
technically this is just a free show here.
Yeah.
But oh damn! Now I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
Time travel.
Oh,
the Gregorian calendar.
shit.
Julius being stabbed in the back by Brutus.
Yeah, Brutus.
Fucking
Brutus. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was a thought. If I come back to it, I'll get it.
Okay, so let's just say, like the poles in the Earth, they shift on a regular basis, where they reverse themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the Earth.
Do they?
Maybe.
That seems really scary. So you're talking the North Pole flips to the South Pole, the South Pole.
Your orientation, you would never know as a being that's living on the Earth that the North is now the South and the South is North.
I don't get it though. Like, so is it switching from the inside?
So the polarization, basically there's molten metal in the middle of the Earth.
Yeah, right.
That basically shifts so that the poles change based on what that shift does to the molten rock inside the Earth.
Wouldn't that cause like massive, like catastrophic, like volcanoes, earthquakes, all that stuff?
I don't think so. I think the electromagnetic field shifts.
That feels like it'd be like the end of the Earth.
Maybe it will. Are you making a prediction?
No, I'm just saying, like, if the North Pole. So, are you telling me it's flipping like this?
Yes.
How would we not know that?
Well, we can measure. We can measure the electromagnetic field and find out when the positive pole reverses with the negative.
But like, wouldn't you physically? You wouldn't physically be able to see anything.
No,
like,
it's all like measurement by electromagnetic fields.
So though. My question is, okay, so we're in the northern hemisphere. So we flip, we're all of a sudden in the summer.
The magnetic
southern
South Pole,
hemisphere.
Not the physical South Pole, the magnetic South Pole.
Oh, damn it, Joe. I don't know what I'm talking about here then. I don't get it. So it's still. So does the whole climate change?
I don't think the climate is reliant on electromagnetic.
Northern, so like right now in like South America, it's their summer, right? Yes. And up here, it's our winter technically for another few weeks. So when we flip down there, is it still the summer?
Yeah, climate doesn't care about electromagnetic activity.
That's what I'm worried about, Joe. I want it to be warm. So maybe I just move by the equator and forget about it all.
So what if your compass pointing north turns into south? That would screw a lot of things up.
That really would. Flights, like you don't want to be in the air at that time, I would imagine. Like, where are you going? This topic blew my mind because like I don't really have a grasp on the poles flipping. Like the poles flipping sounds absolutely catastrophic to me. So is that a real thing?
100%. Like it's due really soon.
And this has happened before.
Yeah. I think it's like every 150 years, the poles reverse. Oh. North Pole becomes South Pole and vice versa.
I don't. That doesn't make any sense.
All right. So the next one.
Okay.
The Earth slowing down, spinning slowly.
Yeah.
And also revolving around the Earth more slowly.
The sun.
The Earth spinning around the sun more slowly.
Okay.
So if it slows down, your perspective doesn't change whatsoever. You live your day normally how it would.
Right.
But in sort of like more of
the day would become longer.
It would, because it's moving faster. So did the calendar change or did the speed of the Earth change?
I'll leave that to the mathematicians, but so would the pole shift cause the Earth's rotation to slow down?
Maybe.
And it has happened before.
Every couple hundred years, yeah.
That blows my mind. Like I can't grasp my head around that.
Well, when you're sitting in the parking lot and there's a car next to you and it starts moving and you don't. Your brain like perceives it as you're moving, right?
Sure, right.
From your perspective that there's movement happening, but it's not really you moving.
Okay.
So when you take into account that we're in all this movement, and it's all happening at different directions. The polar shift, the Earth's slowing down in its rotation, and the Earth's in its orbit, you can get a total time change.
Damn. I didn't even know the poles could shift. I have heard that before, but that really baffles me.
I'm going to look it up and I'm going to read to you.
So while you're looking that up, I'm just going to tell you the Cavs are 38-20. They're 20-10 at home, 18-10 on the road, 25-14 against the Eastern Conference, 13-6 against the Western. They are 2-1 now in overtime this year. They had previously won their last 12 straight. 16th rated team in offense, second on defense, 4th overall in the NBA. All right, Joe.
Yeah.
Give me something.
National Geographic says that the polar reversal does not change any of the climate.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Wait. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to what you said. They swap. This happens every 300,000 years.
I was close. I said 150.
150 years, 300,000. Okay, 300,000. So there's no, like 150 years ago, there would have been books written about this. So 300,000.
But in negative 300,000 BC, they were writing about this.
Okay.
You just the books don't last that long.
They just didn't have the pens. They didn't have the utensils to write.
Technology.
Yeah. Okay.
They were using sundials to write books.
So do they know approximately when it's happened?
It's
when,
due. Like they keep saying that this thing is due. Let me look at some news articles.
All right.
Oh, 2024. We're screwed.
By what is that even? Discrete news or desert news? I don't even know.
Desert
news?
There?
Desert news.
That's a reliable news.
Yeah,
from Desert News.
I get my weather reports from a local sports source, and I get my pole flipping from desert. So
it's anywhere
news.
Between 300,000 and 11. There's a margin of error of 300,000 years.
Okay.
We're in that sweet spot.
All right. That sounds good. So, all right, we're talking about pole flipping and time change, and so that I'll tell you what though, to me that scares the hell out of me. The pole flipping, because it's like, everybody can worry about everything day to day, illness, war, famine, COVID, whatever it might be. But if the Earth's poles flip, there's nothing you can do then. And that's scary as hell to me, because I feel like to me, I feel like it has to happen like this, not like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How it affects
am I describing it in scientific?
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
I saw a theoretical physicist explain it exactly that way.
Playing the violin versus flipping a basketball on its end.
That was good.
That's terrifying.
It's been a while since I was in a physics class, but this stuff makes sense to me.
Someone smarter than I, well, that's already you, but someone smarter than Joe and I that knows things about the pole dynamics and stuff, please reach out, because
do you understand how much we are pissing off scientists right now? They are screaming right now.
Jackasses.
Shut up.
Don't know what you're talking about.
It's a sports show.
So yeah, that first of all, that's strike one. But no, that's super interesting. I would really be curious about. So I'll tell you what, let's try to get a science person in for the eclipse, whether it's like a meteorologist or whatever. And then I want if you talk to any of the meteorologists locally, we'll have to ask them that question.
I actually asked the physics department if they would come talk to me about like multiverse and wormholes and whatever, and they all declined. What do you think about these topics?
Yeah.
Do they think are so radioactive that they don't want to talk about it? What do they know something that we don't know?
Do they think because it's like a sketchy subject that people will think they're a little kooky if they talk about that?
Yeah,
versus like an educated.
Your notoriety goes way down when you start talking about the flat
But like
Earth.
very, very intelligent, smart people, think that that's an actual thing. So
yeah, well, theoretical means that you got to believe in things that you can't measure.
Right.
It exists in some kind of plane.
I mean, you read like Stephen Hawking,
Yes,
you read
smart dude.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said like simulation, multiverse, all that stuff is like a 50-50 type chance. Whereas, other people I know like Elon Musk thinks it's like almost 100% that that's happening. But
Are we in a simulation
Yeah.
according to you?
I don't know. Like I don't know if I would say no, because I feel like I have free will and all that stuff. But
Oh, I can program free will into the simulation. I'll let you think that you got free will.
okay.
Just like when you play a video game, you think you can like free will it,
Mhm.
right? But I designed the world and I designed the people in there, the NPCs, I have the currency, like I can control a whole lot. And you
Okay.
can think that you're in control.
Okay. But I'm not.
You're not. I
Okay.
control the world,
Okay.
right? Your gravity's
So
described by me.
So the way you're describing that feels like you've thought about that often. So you are
Yes,
in
I'm a
control.
simulation guy.
Okay.
But what pisses me off about the simulation, if we're thinking about the universe and planets and whatever, that's all part of the simulation too. So it's bullshit, even to contemplate it, because it's all controlled by a programmer that's bigger than us.
Who created the simulation?
Somebody more intelligent than human beings.
Okay.
Could be aliens, maybe. Could it
Okay.
be God.
Okay.
I don't know.
Hmm.
And Elon Musk always also thinks that it might be nested simulations where we're in a simulation and then we think it's our reality. So that we create another simulation within a simulation and put ourselves in a simulation. So how many dimensions of simulations can we be in right now? A simulation within a simulation within a simulation.
So technically, if you're in a simulation and you know it, there's no consequences.
That's right.
But if there is, or if you don't know it, you're living by the construct laws. And so maybe this is where we get all of our crazy ass people.
100%. But even those consequences could be programmed consequences. So they feel real to you, but somebody thought like, hey, somebody's going to put their hand on a hot stove. I want it to burn. Right. And then they feel like they have free will.
Yeah.
When I said, if you touch stove, open flame equals ouch.
That
right.
sounds like caveman talk right there.
Well, that's how us programmers we talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If not ouch.
Okay. All right, let's get back to a little sports real quick.
Wow.
Now, let me ask if this is a simulation, hypothetically, and everyone has their own free will, they don't know it, hypothetically. You're a student at Wake Forest University, you're a student at Ohio State University, and you're at a game and you're playing one of the best teams in the country. So you're the home team, you're in the stands, you're rooting for your team. So not last weekend, but 2 weekends ago, Wake Forest was playing Duke. Wake Forest is very average team this year. Duke's always, right up there towards the top. So Wake Forest knocks off Duke. They storm the court, and I'll explain what happens in a little bit. Ohio State women beat Iowa's women, who Iowa's one of the best college basketball teams in the country. Ohio State now is, but at the time they were not. So court storming has got one of the Duke players, one of their better players, injured. And then a fan, if you look in the bottom right picture there, Caitlin Clark, who's the best player in all of women's basketball, this fan was running out just like taking a selfie or, doing a live stream video. She runs into Caitlin Clark. She like falls over. So court storming, your thoughts. Is it cool? Is it not cool? Is it somewhere in the middle? Just let them live. What do you think?
I think when you have a group of 100,000 people in one spot and they decide to do something, you do not have choices to be able to stop that.
Yeah.
So you almost have to permit it and make it sort of like, like when the hockey team wins the national championship and they flip over cars and stuff on fire. You don't want that version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But storming the court is kind of benign in comparison.
Yeah. And usually you don't, the way I think about this, basketball and football are very different too, because football, usually you're in the stands, you got to like jump down a little bit. Whereas basketball, you just walk down a couple stairs, you're right on the court. And then basketball players aren't padded. They're not wearing
Right.
gear. Whereas football players, you run on the football field, all bets are off. Like if you get your ass kicked, if you get stepped on by a cleat, if you just get knocked down, that's on you. Same thing with basketball too. Like there's consequences for that. But I think it's one of those things that's like it's been around forever. They're college kids. They're just trying to have some fun. Now, if somebody does something stupid or ridiculous or tries to go after a player, there should be court and law punishment for that. But actual running on the court for, and just having fun, taking some pictures, whatever, let them live is my opinion. But
All right, so you're a college and it's tradition to rip down the uprights in order for celebration.
Yeah.
Do you make it easy and let it happen, or do you prohibit it?
So I think I went to Ohio State. So at Ohio State, that was the only area they protected were the goalposts. So they would make a police like triangle around the goalposts. And I think people only rushed the field like when I was in school there like twice. It was the one Michigan game. And I also went to another one. I can't remember what game it was, but fans all went on the field. I actually only went on the field once, and that, I did it, so I can't criticize people. But I think here's the way I'm going to put it. If you go on the field and you go and have fun, you're with a group of friends, whatever, and you're not doing any harm, most of the time it's fine. Then you end up getting off the field, you walk off. But if you go down and get on the field and some security guy or girl takes you out, I think that's their right too, because whether you're unlucky or lucky, whether they just let 50 people past you and you're the 51st and they take you out, it's like, hey, you got to make an example of somebody, or it's like, hey, wrong place, wrong time. But if you step on that field of play or that court of play, and you better expect any consequences that are coming your way.
So you're a streaker. You decide to take the Super Bowl.
That's different.
Run across the field, and do you get arrested? Do you get jail time? Like I can see a college saying, "I don't want this to happen."
Yeah.
So we're gonna have cameras fixed on the field.
Mm-hmm.
We identify you as a student here. You're expelled. No more college for you.
Yeah.
Does it put an end to it?
Penalty
has to be high enough to dissuade it.
No, I don't think so. Like I know the schools get fined, but like the individual penalty for a student, as long as you're not intentionally doing something stupid, I don't like if you're not like physically trying to injure someone. If you're just if you go after the goalpost and you help rip it down, and they got video footage that, you're probably going to jail or paying a very hefty fine. And I honestly have zero problem with that, because there's a difference between going out having fun versus being destructive. You know what I mean?
What if you're a real dick and you take a flag and you plant it in the opposing team's center 50-yard line?
That's a fake grass field too. Then I think you should be tackled and pounded into the ground.
Okay, just wondering.
So I think there was a Michigan guy that did that, and a former Browns quarterback that might have done that too.
Dick.
Yeah. But Ohio State, when they went down to Oklahoma and beat Baker, they did it with class. So they expected to win. So let's just put it that way.
Ohio State.
Cheers.
A better team.
Cheers. All right. You asked me a mind-blowing question earlier. I'm going to put a video or an image up on the screen. I want you to identify this random thought I have today.
Okay.
Is the Major League Baseball player that's pictured in that logo, the logo of the Major League Baseball, is he a right-handed or left-handed hitter? And how do you know?
Oh, he's a left-handed hitter.
Why do you say that?
We're looking at it. Oh my goodness, that just changed.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Why is he a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter? I think this would be a great poll question to put out there, because I looked at that today, and when you said left-handed hitter, I could see how you thought that. I always thought it was a right-handed hitter.
So the size of the baseball means that it is closer to the camera, meaning that his stance.
But there is no camera.
No, my eyeballs of the camera, and the proportional size means that if he was a right-handed hitter, it'd be further away, and that ball would be much smaller.
These are the kind of questions that kept me out of Harvard and Yale and stuff. But
if you'd answered them right, you would have got into Harvard and into Yale.
I had a 50-50 chance, and I missed it.
Yeah.
So I'll have to look back and see what I.
But then again, that pitch might have been behind the batter, so it might have been a
true.
right-handed.
That's true. Or was it on a leap day and it never happened?
The poles shift and he's really on his head.
Yeah, he's actually in South America when the pitch is being thrown in North America. So
oh my goodness.
I'm very curious what people. I'm going to post that on social media and see what people think, because I would think most people would think that's. See, now you have me thinking it's a left-handed hitter, but I've always thought it's a right-handed hitter. I don't know.
Why would they?
Baffling.
But if the artist that rendered this took a picture behind the batter rather than in front of the batter, that makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's got to be a left-handed.
And first
he's
of all,
facing him.
Is that a person or is that a bird? Look at that nose. Is that a person or a bird?
He has a helmet guard that comes down. That's to protect his face.
Oh, okay.
And if he's a left-handed hitter, that is coming in front of his face.
Okay.
Rather than from behind where you wouldn't see that.
Okay.
More evidence for my cause.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you.
Do you ever see the Tupperware that when you look at it one way, it's face down, and then you look at it another way, and it's face up? Same thing.
Or like those pictures. Is this a horse or a dolphin or something like that? Or how many faces do you see in this tree? Stuff like that. All right. I have a question for you.
Sure.
The 100 most valuable franchises in all of sports. So I'm talking Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, soccer, all the European soccer teams, all of that stuff. Where do you think the Cleveland Browns rank in most valuable franchises out of the top 100?
I'm going to say 15.
Okay. Where do you think the Cleveland Cavaliers rank? The Cleveland Guardians are not on this list, by the way. Top 100.
40.
Okay. All right. So the Cleveland Browns are actually 41st on this list, which is mind-blowing because you think NFL, expensive franchises, all that. The Cavs are actually 68th. So that's still pretty damn good if you think about it. Who do you think the number one team is? Most valuable franchise in all of sports?
Yankees.
Okay, that's a great guess. They're actually number 5. That's a great guess. And they are the number 1 baseball team on this list. They're actually the only baseball team in the top 5, or top 10 even. Let me see. Actually, the top 16, they are the only baseball team. So
what about Lakers?
Lakers are number 4.
Okay.
Any more guesses? So you got the number 4 and number 5. See if you can get another top 10 team.
Big money.
We have a local owner that owns one of these franchises.
The 49ers?
49ers are number 9 on this
Seriously?
list. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Number 9. So think of maybe the biggest. This is okay. So NFL has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the top 12.
So if I name any of those, I'm in.
Yep.
So an NFL franchise.
8 of the top 12.
All right. So I'll go New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of them.
They're number 8.
Okay. Let's see.
Probably want to think big market.
Yeah. What change of names? Does it matter? Does it go with the?
Nope. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I was thinking like a Los Angeles team.
Yep.
All right.
One of the Los Angeles teams.
Rams?
The Rams, yes,
Okay.
correct. The Rams are number 7. So you have number 4, number 5, number 7, and number 8.
I have to get one more to win a prize?
No, there's no prizes. There's just for fun.
Okay.
Just for fun. You get a sip of that bourbon over there.
All right. The Giants?
The Giants are number 6.
Okay.
So you got 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 9.
Dang. All right.
So
and you know the answer.
The number 1 is the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, the most valuable sports team in the world. Number 2, 3, and 4 are actually NBA teams. which to me blows my mind. The Golden State Warriors, San Francisco, I think they own the arena and all that stuff. San Francisco's valuable land. The New York Knicks, again, major name, and then the LA Lakers, which you said are number 4. Then you got 5 Yankees, 6 Giants, 7 Rams, 8 Patriots, 9 49ers, 10 the other New York team, New York Jets, then the Commanders, and then the Chicago Bears are number 12.
Oh,
so
nice. I would have never guessed the Bears.
Pretty crazy there. That but the value of sports, I believe, when the Warriors were purchased, I believe they were purchased for like $300 million, which that's a lot of money, but they're now worth somewhere in like the $8 billion range, which is mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. So,
and what's of all the teams that you listed there, what do you think the team that is worth the most, but performance wise has been like basement? I thought Jets when you said that.
Yeah, the Jets or the Commanders. Giants haven't been very good of late over the last decade. The Knicks are finally back to where they should be. Like the Cowboys get to the playoffs every year, so they're competitive. But I don't know. I think that's probably the Jets are probably a good answer there because they've been bad for a long time. Like we're talking almost 2 decades now. So yeah. But Woody Johnson, the Johnson family owns that Johnson and Johnson. So that's they're doing okay without the, even right? without the
we
Jets
don't need to
franchise.
do a GoFundMe to kind of keep them in business.
I think they're going to be okay.
All right.
I think they're going to be okay. So just thought that was interesting. Final topic I want to touch on, and then if you have anything. So I threw this out to you guys earlier, but have you heard of the pig slaughtering scam? Do you know what that is?
I don't.
Okay. So you're a big, respond to these scammers. So I saw a story the other day on John Oliver on HBO or Max, excuse me. But pig slaughtering costs this thing costs the Americans $3 billion a year. So pig slaughtering the pigs are the Americans. So what these people do, so apparently in China, it's basically this, during COVID, this started. So did you ever get random messages on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter from just some random looking, usually if you're a guy, it's going to be a female. Like most of the time, most people do. Have you ever got one?
All the time.
Yeah. So they'll send you messages or they'll send you a text and it'll say like if I'm sending it to you, but I know who you are, it might say and I know your name's Joe. I might say, hey, Mike, you left your phone at Home Depot or something. And that it's like a conversation starter. So what they do is get these conversations started, and they want gullible people to respond to them. And then they have this whole handbook too. And it's like step 1, make contact with these people, start a good relationship. And most of the time, if it's a female, most of the time it's going to be a guy sending them messages or who they think is a guy. If it's a male, it's going to be a female most of the time sending them messages. And, these people that are doing this are in China, Russia, wherever, but they have been trafficked. So how this started was during COVID, all these gambling casinos and whatnot, they took a lot of people and basically have control of them. So they're enslaved basically. Yeah. They're enslaved. So they set up these fake accounts on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever, and they start these relationships with these people and they get them to send them money. Or they get them to invest in something, and then they think they're investing in something, but actually money's being taken out of their account. But it shows them like they're making money or doing well, and they're either investing more or whatever. It costs Americans $3 billion a year. It's crazy. And a lot of these people that are scamming you have to scam you because otherwise, who knows what might happen to them? You know what I mean? So this story like blew my mind, and it's insane. So I don't know.
Billions of dollars.
They said reported 3 billion, so they know it's actually cost them more than that, because it's only people that will announce that to like the government or to authorities that, hey, I've been taken for, like, the one person in the story I saw was taken for over $2.5 million. And some people, it cost them their whole life savings because they thought they were investing in Bitcoin, or they thought they were investing in, some financial statement. This one guy who they highlighted in the story was a CEO of a bank. So it wasn't these like just hillbillies from Arkansas. Sorry, Arkansas, but it wasn't just these random like, people. They were targeting like successful, smart people, and they got taken. So just beware out there. I know you guys down here do a lot of, beware of these type scam artists and stuff like that. But this like really caught my eye, and the story was fascinating. So I don't know.
So I have a business idea for you and I. Mm-hmm. Maybe this year we start a cult and we do our own scam, but we could do a scam that's better than these idiots in China. Like, they always make mistakes by making it less than believable. I think we can take these people and make it feel and seem way more legitimate. I think we can do it better.
Probably, but we just announced our crime.
It's just an idea. This is the table of good ideas. And if they're $1 billion in avoid, I can hire lawyers for millions.
And they're splitting that $3 billion with so many other people.
Just you and I, man. Yeah, this is a two-man operation. First, start the cult because we know they're gullibles, right? And then we can offload some of the responsibility for the scam to the gullibles so that there's plausible deniability. I think this is a good scam. Okay. I mean, plan.
Sign me up. I'm in. All right. With that said, everybody have a good weekend. No, I think that's interesting. So, yeah. I don't think I can sign on the dotted line for that.
You're no fun.
I'll think about it though.
Off air, you mean before we'll instead of publicly?
I'm out, Joe. So no.
Talk to me later.
But I will say, seriously, if you haven't heard of this, go Google pig slaughtering scam. It's wild shit. So, they legitly have psychology on these people and how to manipulate them and like take them down. So fascinating stuff. So
one more topic.
Please.
You're doing it?
Whatever.
Okay. So TikTok. Do you use TikTok?
You know what? I watch some TikTok videos, but I actually do not have an account of my own.
So China produces TikTok.
Yeah.
If you go to China and open up the TikTok app, it's basically an assembly of videos of academic, really rich in science and mathematics.
Sure.
So they're culturing all of the Chinese kids to become smarter because of TikTok. The US version is not that.
No, it is not.
It is a dumber version.
It is much dumber.
To make an enemy of China, the United States, stupider and more addicted to something that's going to make them worse. So the war of worlds, a sophisticated war.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like I'm going to throw a bomb at you and shoot a gun 10 feet away from you, all stupid, primitive methods.
Right.
If you can make your enemy really, really, really
They're playing the long game.
100-year, 1,000-year game.
Yeah.
And they're willing to like release a product that makes your enemy dumber.
And maybe over those 1,000 years, we'll lose 10 days because of the
years. Circle back. Circle back.
But is the Earth rotating slower? So it all comes. Time is a flat circle, Joe. All right. Everybody enjoy your weekend. We'll see you later. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thank you for your support.